Hi, everybody. John Epp here, curator for the Destroyer Escort Historical Museum aboard the World War II Destroyer Escort USS Slater in Albany, New York. In this video, we're going to go over a few of the ways that we deal with the ice up here on the Hudson River. The Slater's hull is only about 3/8 inch thick, and it's 80 years old at this point, so the ice is a rather big concern for us. In previous years, the Hudson River has not frozen, and sometimes we have upwards of 12 inches of ice up against her hull. So, how do we deal with that? How do we keep the ship afloat? How do we prevent the ice from damaging our hull and flooding the interior of the ship? Let's go around to the shore on the port side and look to see just how we accomplish that. Installation of an ice deflection barrier just forward of the ship had been discussed for over a decade after the Slater arrived in Albany. The goal was to avoid a buildup of ice between the ship and shore to prevent excess strain on the mooring lines and bitts. The idea was to install 5 pilings ahead of the ship with the goal of deflecting the ice towards the center of the river. Funding was never fully acquired for this project, and while it could have been a great extra layer of security for the ship, there already exists an ice deflection system near us, the Dunn Memorial Bridge. This is the third bridge to cross the Hudson River at this location in Albany. The current iteration was completed in 1969. Located just a few yards ahead of the ship, the westernmost pier that is in the river has a steel deflection system built around it to protect the bridge from damage. During the winter, the ice flows tend to build up in this narrow space instead of floating downriver towards the ship. Next is the 2 mooring dolphins that you see today. Installed in the spring of 2010, these 2 monopiles are paired with large rubber donuts that prevent the ship from being pushed into the seawall. They were power driven into bedrock and filled with concrete. Prior to these, large wooden camels were placed in the river to achieve the same result. These weren't a permanent fixture and had to be removed at the end of each season and installed again in the spring by using a crane. Not only was this an annoying operation to perform twice a year, but it was also costly and dangerous, requiring staff and volunteers to stand on them to install and remove. The mooring dolphins allow the Slater to remain at her berth year round, as opposed to leaving for safer berthing about a mile south during the winter. The rubber donuts slide up and down the piling as the river level rises, and provides a cushion between the thin hull plating and the piling. Next, we have our water circulators. These are a series of motorized propellers that we suspend over the side of the ship during the winter months. They sit just under the water's surface, and when turned on, push the water upwards, which helps prevent ice from forming against the ship and thus adding potentially damaging stress to the mooring lines and bitts. At one point, we did experiment with placing these on Slater's starboard side, but a few were lost to the ice flows once they broke up and floated past the ship. During cold winters, these are run nearly 24/7. Last year was a rather mild winter, and the river didn't fully freeze, so the circulators weren't used all that much. This winter, however, they've been running most days. Partially visible here is the 3/8 inch doubler plate, welded along the entire circumference of the ship just above her waterline. During Slater's first dry docking as a museum in 2014, adding this extra layer of protection was one of the main tasks. At about 4 feet tall, this doubler sits just 1 foot above the waterline and 3 feet below. As one of the most critical areas of degradation, the waterline of ships and museum ships in particular. It's prone to faster weathering. If it's not taken care of, leaks in the hull are a possibility. The doubler also provides the Slater with an extra layer of ice protection. And last, but certainly not least, is our relationship with the United States Coast Guard. Sector New York extends from Sandy Hook, New Jersey, north through New York City and continuing up the Hudson River past Albany to an area just south of Lake Champlain. About 40 miles south of us, as the crow flies, is Saugerties, New York, and our local Coast Guard station. Throughout the year, cutters will travel north and use Slater as a floating pier for various reasons, and we've installed an electrical connection on our starboard side, allowing the cutter to use our facilities. And if needed, the crews on these small cutters are welcome to use our bathroom and shower facilities as well. And we offer this hospitality because of how important the Coast Guard is to us and this country. Historically, many destroyer escorts during and after World War II were Coast Guard manned, so we like to maintain a great relationship. These cutters also keep the shipping channel of the Hudson River free of ice from the port of Albany, which is about half a mile south of us, to New York City. Since no ships travel north of the port, the river remains frozen near Slater. However, if the ice becomes too thick and begins to worry us, a quick phone call to the Coast Guard, and they'll be here within a few hours to break up the ice around us, just as they did a couple of years ago. So there you have it. A few of the ways we protect a thin-hulled World War II destroyer escort from the Hudson River ice. I hope you enjoyed this look into our operations. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support just by watching this video directly supports the restoration and maintenance of this beautiful warship. If you'd like to further your support, head on over to our website, ussslater.org, to learn more. Until next time, take care.